Hey guys, welcome back to another market update. We are filming December 5th for November 2024. Jennifer and Patty, how you guys doing?
Well, thanks.
Great.
Right on. So right away, the news release came out and it says home buyer demand continues to strengthen in November. What do we think about this very bold comment?
It's really interesting because people are asking me right now about the market because people are curious, right? They can see that there's more for sale. They can see that there's less sales. They have it. People are paying attention. And I think your numbers, Adam, show that the number of sales are up over the previous year. But most of the sales, I tell people, happened in the first 6 months of this year. We were busy. And so it was only in this last little bit of October where we saw that bump or surge, as Jennifer called it last month. And we kind of came back down in November. It's a normal market. This happens on a regular basis. There's always one time in the year. This is what I told someone at a party last night. There's always one time in a year where it's busy, and there's another time in the year where it's very quiet. And we know it's happening. We just don't know when it's going to happen. It's not discernible by month or season or, who's going to school or not. It just happens. It has its own life.
I totally agree, Patty. So, as you mentioned, now in this month, we had that bumper, that surge in October, and now we see things getting back to the level still above where the sales were in September. Because in September, we were only at 1852. November, we're 2181. So we're still up, but we're below where the sales were in October. So we're going to see a softening as we head probably into December as well. So that when we round the corner in January, we're going to see fewer sales. The thing is, with boots on the ground, which is what we're kind of doing, our phones are ringing and people are asking questions and people are getting prepared. So I'm sending more clients to speak with mortgage brokers now than I was in months past, excuse me. So there's this sense that there's going to be a little bit of pent up demand.
Yeah, and politically, like right now, we're on shaky ground all over the place. So people are they're a little tentative for sure about what they're going to do. And the prediction originally was that by the end of this year, early beginning of next, that we were going to see a really good bump in terms of activity. It's probably going to be mid next year before that happens. Probably going to be
So
that.
just to confirm the numbers that we're talking about here, year over year in November 2024, we are up 28% in sales. We're still a little bit below that 10-year seasonal average, and then month over month, we're actually down 17%. So I think you guys are absolutely right. We're getting into that time of year where real estate's really not top of mind unless you have to be doing something related to real estate. So my question for you, and Patty, you kind of got on the topic here. People are asking you about the market. Jen, you're sending people to mortgage brokers. So the past 2 months, we've had a pretty good surge in sales. How do we forecast, like let's omit December because December is always slow, but how do we forecast sales going into January to early spring?
We are at the mercy of the outside influences that create our market. We truly are, like interest rates, governments, policy,
Interest rates is an
immigration.
interesting one. Do you think that buyers are going to jump again faster into the market now that we're predicting another 0.25 drop in a week here?
I do think that's going to encourage some people. I think when we look at this in a bigger picture sense, I think like when we consider demographics, we have the baby boomers who arguably were the largest generation, having given birth to the millennials. And all of the statistics tell us that millennials haven't purchased real estate yet. But we're about to see a real transfer of wealth, whether or not it's with early estate planning or baby boomers selling their larger homes and parceling off money to their children. And so we're going to see millennials purchase in the next couple of years. How soon that starts, I don't know. I think like Patty says, I think it depends on all the factors. I think it depends on how comfortable they are, but we know that that generation is going to come into some wealth, and some of them are going to spend it on real estate. And where they're going to buy is they're going to start with buying condos and townhomes. They're going to love to live in stratified properties where they don't have to mow the lawn, that everything is kind of maintained for them, because they still want to be going out for dinner and fooling around. They're not going to be buying houses and mowing the lawn. Though that I that's my prediction anyway. So
And
I think that if they jump in, that we could see some activity this spring.
we met, Jen and I met with a buyer the other day, lovely young girl,
Amazing.
and saving money like we've never seen before. We were so impressed with her ability to save money. And quite frankly, she could buy tomorrow. But her goal is 2026 of May. And
she'd like to stay living with her mom and dad until then.
I kind of pushed her on it, like, because I think that might be, it might be an opportunity where if she buys now, she gains more than trying to save the equity that she might gain.
Yeah, because she's in a more balanced, favorable market versus you don't know what's going to happen.
Right, and we can't predict what will happen.
On that note, and we're talking about how she was able to save money, she's really taking advantage of a lot of opportunities that first-time buyers have. And one of the new ones, and the less kind of talked about one, is the first home savings account. So it operates much like a tax-free savings account, but the funds are exclusively used for first-time home buyers. So, if when you're starting to plan, if you're a first-time home buyer, start thinking about this, because what a great way to take advantage of tax-free savings. If you can just keep kind of socking some money away, if you get some money for Christmas, turn that corner in January and get that money in there.
As we move into the market, we always want to look at inventory. So there were 3,725 detached, attached apartment properties newly listed for sale on the MLS. This represents a 10.6% increase compared to the same metrics in November 2023, and about 5% above the 10-year seasonal average. So new listings to the market are up year over year 10.6%, but they're actually down 32% month over month. So again, I know we like to talk about total inventory. When we are looking at new inventory, do you think the level of new inventory is sufficient to meet the rising demand of this kind of new wave of buyers that are coming to the market?
No, that is that is the conversation whenever the millennials start to buy, because again, they're the biggest buying group ever in history. They're going to come into wealth that they either inherit or are gifted, and they will buy. And when they start to buy, it will be like any other group. They'll follow each other, right? It'll be, oh, you're buying.
Right.
Oh, I want to buy too. And when that happens, it'll be a huge impact on the market. And that has been the prediction for a couple of years now. And as I said, it was supposed to hit really early next year. It doesn't look like it will, but time will tell.
Go off that point and start talking about total inventory. So the total number of properties currently listed for sale on MLS is 13,245. It's a 21% increase in total inventory year over year. Now, the thing I found interesting about this is that this is the lowest level of inventory since April 2024. So how might inventory is up, and so how might the elevated inventory impact buyer and seller behavior in the coming months?
Well, when inventory truly does elevate, it puts us in a more balanced market, doesn't it? So it allows buyers more time to make a decision. Part of me wonders if we don't have an inventory that is a bit stale. And I continue to see overpriced listings. And I thought the stat that was really interesting that came out was the sales ratio. So of all the detached homes that are selling, only 12% of them are selling like month over month. So when a new listing comes up, it's only 12% likely to sell. And I thought it was really interesting that this is totally different from the attached market, which is closer to 20% sales ratio. And this really comes down to who's buying and what's going on and which properties are more affordable. Attached are more affordable. right?
Mhm.
So I do think there's a real slowdown in the top of the market. And I think we see this in detached. We really see a huge activity in the lower end of detached homes. Lower prices are selling. But yeah, right now, I think that, if you're trying to sell a detached home, it's a little harder. And if you're trying to sell a condo and a townhome, a smaller townhome, it's a little easier.
That's also an indication of what's to come, because those people, when they sell, will have to buy again. So either they're upsizing or downsizing. If they're in a condo or townhouse, they're likely upsizing. And so that will
Hmm.
eventually trickle upwards into the higher end of the market.
So let's take a holistic approach to this. If I'm looking at this report, we're saying that demand is up, we're saying that inventory is up, we're saying that sales to active listing ratio right now is at 17.1, so pretty balanced. How, taking all these metrics, how do we think pricing is going to play out in the coming months?
Well, it's going to
Well,
stay. It's
yeah.
going to stay. It's going to stay pretty level until there's a pressure, outward pressure on the market, and that would be more buyers. And we are not. Don't like we can. We know with our own listings, and we know with our own buyer activity, there's a steady uh, group of people making a move, but we are not anywhere near as busy as we were the first 6 months of this year.
Yeah.
Not
And
even close.
that's what I was going to say, Adam. Like when you talk about the metrics and you say demand is up, I think there's some demand, but I don't necessarily see demand being up. So I think we need to be careful when we're advising people about, the appetite to buy. I think there's still some hesitation, and as Patty pointed out, with possibly a federal election looming, and we've overcome a few hurdles, right? We have the U.S. election behind us, the provincial election behind us, but we still have a little bit of uncertainty. So I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic about the late spring market kind of picking up, but I'm not sure the demand is as high as we think it is.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
agree. The past couple months have been outliers for demand. That's why, year over
Mhm.
year, they're 28, 30% over what they were this time last year. But you're right. Most of the year, it's been pretty low in terms of um, kind of year over year sales. Right
Go ahead,
on, guys.
Adam.
I think that's a lot of information that we've given our audience. If our audience has any questions about past stats, about what's going to come up, about their plan in particular, certainly reach out to the team. We love to go for coffee. We have a great coffee shop across the street, and we love to talk real estate and just plan what to do in the coming years. We have lots of good information, and we want to help you guys make the best choice with all the information that we have.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's not forget that it was a very good year in real estate. It's a little slower right now, but overall it was a very, very good year. So this is just what happens, and we'll see what 2025 brings us.
Yeah. And just wishing all of our clients near and far happy holidays and whatever you celebrate, just all the best from our entire team at the
Yeah.
Patty Martin Real Estate Group.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Adam.